the intellectual world that we have made for ourselves, and we can't be otherwise. The primitive man, when he saw the rising sun, he needed to explain it away. And for him, the explanation was that there are 4 people pulling the sun in the morning and then taking it away from the horizon to cool it down within a river and to bring it back the next day. And there were others who gave an interpretation that the sun is God himself. Why? Because it supports life on earth. But then they had to go beyond those notions to arrive at the truth. To arrive at the truth. Today, the Muslim God is defined by one who gives life. Is this true or not? Tomorrow, what will happen is that modern science will give life. What will happen to the Muslim God at that point? He will need to be redefined. Will he or will he not? Or he will break altogether, as the Christian God broke. Do you remember the Christians who appointed earth as the center of the universe to base the supremacy of man upon that basis? As soon as it was found out that earth is no more than one of the heavenly objects that is moving around, a sphere, endlessly, the whole notion of supremacy of man, and with it Christian theology went out. The first, and this is the easier one, is to break the intellectual self and the intellectual idols. By God, the Allah that we worship is no more than an idol that we have created ourselves. As the 7th Imam Salamullah alayhi, or the 9th Imam states, that Allah that you worship is no more than a creation of your own imagination. Is nothing other than the creation of your imagination. It's amazing that we can live in this world with this unique opportunity of 70, 60, 40 years, and we are still worshipping the same Allah to whom we were introduced at the age of 14 in the madrasa. My goodness. Look at this great loss of ours. We stated a hadith last night that when the 12th Imam Salamullah alayhi appears, the first people to reject him will be the Muslims, saying that this is not righteous Islam. Think about it. This is not proper Islam. Today, if we are told that Hussein ibn Ali had 150 followers and helpers, or 300 helpers and followers, our belief in Hussein will shatter. If we are told that Hussein ibn Ali may have had water on the night of Ashura because Saqqa and Ali Akbar went and brought water from Al-Qama, it will shake the foundation of our belief. Look at how weak and feeble we are. My God, can Hussein be measured in thirst? Can Hussein be measured in number of helpers? Hussein is Hussein. The burning passion within our hearts. Even if he drank water before his slaughter, it will not make a difference to who Hussein is. And even if he didn't have any water for 10 days, it should not make a difference to what Hussein is. But our inability to accept, what does that say? We are unable to accept. Even when we analyze the life of the Prophet, we are so particular. This makes sense, this doesn't make sense. Where is that free-spirited man who looks at things for what they are worth? Look at how we are restrained intellectually. Look at how we have stagnated intellectually. We can't move forward. In every aspect of our existence, we will see that everything has to fit nicely in the intellectual world that we have created. And this is an easier world to break than the inner world, which is far more difficult. Today, if a new piece of information comes to us from a non-Muslim, we tremble in awe and fear what will happen to our Islam. By Allah, the truth is Islam. Whether it comes from a Hindu, a black, or a Chinese, or an animal, or a woman, or a Nabalik person. Truth is the truth. Huwa al-haq. Allah is the absolute truth. Today, we are finding ourselves that the biggest mushrik and the biggest sharik to Allah is only I. and no one else. There is no God but Allah. If there is at all another God, I am the other God. Because the whole of this world, even God himself, is in accordance with what I want him to be. I'm not even ready to accept God as he is. I'm not even ready to accept the Prophet as he is, the story of Hussein as it is, the truth as it is. It has to neatly fit in to the model that I've erected in my own mind. My goodness, isn't this the statement that I am God myself? This is the biggest sharik. You know, when we look at the Quran, we talk of kafir and we talk of hidayah. Look at our reading, how we are misled in our reading. Look at the very first verse of Baqarah. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. That is a source of guidance, without a doubt, for the muttaqeen. Until now, I used to think that Quran makes muttaqeen. According to this verse, we have to be muttaqeen first before it becomes a guidance. Where does that guidance come from? That verse? It is a guidance for the muttaqeen. So we have to be muttaqeen first before it guides us. Do you see that? There is something else that is going on here totally, that we are possibly missing entirely. And then kufr. When we look at it very carefully, we will find actually kafar, and the righteous application of kafir is the individual himself. Kafara means the one who covers the truth, and there cannot be any kufr but at an individual level. That person who denies the belief in Allah is less of a kafir than a person who is in the folds of Allah and denies belief in him. Shaitan only became shaitan. Why? Because he was the greatest angel. Potentially he is the greatest demon. The Muslims are the greatest kafirs. No one can be greater kafir than a Muslim himself. We always cover the truth. Why? Because we are scared, we are insecure, or because we are complacent with the way we've understood the world. Now the first thing we need to do is to tear away at this world that we have erected. We truly need to become objective. I gave this example last year. A nation of Islam were advocating that the Prophet of Islam was black. The Muslims were in uproar. What difference does it make if the Prophet was black anyway? Does it make a difference? Will the Quran become less of the Quran? Will the Sunnah become less of the Sunnah? What difference does it make if the Prophet was black? Is Allah black? Is he white? What is God? Is he man? Is he woman? Is he English? Does he speak Arabic? What is God? Look at the way in which we are thinking. So the first thing is, we need to understand that maybe the intellectual world that we have erected and in which we live so comfortably may be no more than a mere presumption. No more than mere presumption. It has the weakest foundations ever. Allah says, have you seen the spider that builds a house? Oh, weaves a web. Indeed, the most fragile of houses is the house of a spider. This is how fragile our intellectual universes are. It is a very liberating moment in the life of an individual when they can stand as a free individual and say that I will yearn the truth and not operate on presumptions. You know, we had this debate in Canada, is Allah just? The point is that the question was a non-starter at all, altogether. The question was a non-starter. We have presumed